Hi folks, welcome back. So in this video, I'm just going to quick go through how to answer the questions on the practice quiz. Again, this is just how I would go about solving the problems. Again, I recognize it's by no means the only way, and in some cases it might not be the way that makes the most sense to you. But hopefully if you're not quite sure where to start, hopefully this can provide some insight as to how I would go about solving these problems. All right, so the first one is dealing with an exponential growth and decay model. All right, so here specifically we're dealing with the half-life question. So you have the half-life of a certain drug is 12 hours. So if you start with 100 grams of the drug in a system, find an equation in the form y equals y sub 0 y naught e to the kt. Then that can be used to determine how much of the drug is still in the system after t hours. All right, so we're just looking for the equation here, again in the form y equals y sub 0 y naught e to the kt. All right, so y sub 0 is always going to be your initial amount. All right, so in this case, we start off with 100 grams. So my y sub 0 in this case is going to equal 100. So that's the easy part. All right, the next thing we need to do is we need to find our value for k. And to do that, we're going to use this half-life there. So again, the half-life is how long it takes for 1/2 of the substance to decay. Again, assuming that you have an exponential decay model. All right, so after 12 hours, if I start off with 100 grams, after 12 hours, I'm going to have 50 grams. All right, so you're going to have 50 equals my y sub 0, or 100, e to the k, and in this case, my t is 12 hours. So we have e to the k times 12. All right, so now I'm just going to try and solve for k. All right, so to start off, we can just divide both sides by 100. So you have 1/2 equals e to the 12k. All right, and then we're just going to take the natural log of both sides here. All right, so I'm going to take the natural log of both sides. So we have the natural log of 1/2 equals, so when I take the natural log of e raised to some power, the natural log and the e are inverses of one another. So in other words, they kind of cancel themselves out. So the natural log of e to the 12k is just going to be 12k. There. All right, so then to solve for k, I'm just going to divide both sides by 12. All right, I'm going to end up with k equals, all right, so I do the natural log of 1/2 divided by 12. So k is negative 0.0577. Or I guess technically it would be 0.578 since it's 76. All right. So my equation that models this situation is we have y equals my initial amount, so 100, e to the k, which is negative 0.0578 times t. And that's all it's asking for. All right. So the second question here is dealing with using the arc length formula. All right, so we have Peshtigo, Wisconsin is on the 45th parallel. So what that means is that an arc from Peshtigo to the North Pole has a central angle of 45 degrees. All right, so if I have my world here, so I have my North Pole, then I have Peshtigo. All right, so then my central angle, since it's on the 45th parallel, my central angle here is going to be 45 degrees. All right. If the radius of the Earth is 3,950 miles, so that's going to be my radius, then how many miles along the arc is Peshtigo from the North Pole? So we're looking for this arc length here. So we're looking for how many miles along this arc here. So what's my arc length? All right, so again, my arc length is going to be S equals alpha times radius, where alpha is my central angle in radians, and r is going to be my radius. All right, so my arc length, so my radius in this case is going to be 3950. And then to find my central angle in radians, you're just going to do the degree measure times pi over 180. So 45 degrees is the same as 45 pi over 180 radians. All All right. So I'm going to plug this into my calculator here. So you have 3950 times 45 pi over 180. We end up with 3102. Yep, 3102 miles. So again, that represents the arc length, or how we would measure the distance from North Pole to Peshtigo, Wisconsin. All right, so the final question here is dealing with sine, cosine, and tangent functions. All right, so in order to do this, we first need to figure out what my hypotenuse is. All right, so to do that, we can use the Pythagorean theorem. So I'll just say my hypotenuse is h here. All right, so you have h squared equals 4 squared plus 8 squared. So we have h squared equals 16 plus 8 squared, which is 64. So I'm going to do 16 plus 64. That's going to be 80. Oh. All right, and then I'm just going to take the square root of both sides. So you have h equals square root of 80, which is square root of 80 divided by 16, which is square root of 16, square root of 5, or 4 square root of 5. All right, so that's my hypotenuse. All right, so then to find your sine, cosine, and tangent, you can just remember the acronym SOHCAHTOA. All right, so sine is going to be opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is going to be adjacent over hypotenuse. And tangent is going to be opposite over adjacent. All right. So looking at my angle alpha, so we have sine of alpha. So looking at this, so the sine of alpha is going to be the side opposite my angle alpha divided by the hypotenuse. So we have 4 divided by 4 square root of 5, which the 4's can cancel, so I'm just going to have 1 square root of 5. All right, cosine of alpha is going to be my adjacent leg divided by my hypotenuse. All right, so the adjacent leg, so the leg adjacent to my angle alpha is going to be 8 over my hypotenuse, which is 4 square root of 5. So that's going to be 2 over square root of 5. And then the tangent of alpha is going to be the opposite leg divided by the adjacent leg. So that's going to be 4 over 8, which is just going to be 1/2. All right, so then for beta, so the sine of beta, so now I'm looking at this angle here, is going to be the leg opposite my angle beta, so that's going to be 8, divided by my hypotenuse, which is going to be 4 square root of 5, or 2 over square root of 5. Cosine of beta is going to be the leg adjacent to my angle beta, divided by hypotenuse, so that's going to be 4 over 4 square root of 5, which is going to be 1 over square root of 5. And finally, the tangent of beta is going to be your opposite leg divided by your adjacent leg. So that's going to be 8 over 4, or just 2 there. All right, so again, on the quiz, I'm just going to ask you one of those, so either alpha or beta, but again, you don't know which one, so I included both of them on the practice quiz there. All right, so yeah, so that's kind of how I would go about solving these problems. And hopefully you found this helpful. Have a lovely day, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye now.